So is this enough? Is the kind of things that Molly just outlined enough to keep bad guys at bay? Let's ask former NYPD intelligence specialist Buck Sexton. Buck, what do you think?
Well, Neil, we certainly hope it will be enough. And the work that we just heard about by the FBI to prevent an attack on Christmas Day out in San Francisco is exactly the kind of effort that we need to see from law enforcement and the intelligence community in this country. Look, the Islamic State has been putting out a lot of propaganda posters recently, specifically citing this time period and Christmas and New Year's Eve as times to attack. They've also been encouraging individuals to act as lone wolves. That appears very specifically in the most recent ISIS propaganda, too. They've lost their caliphate, and so those who are ideologically aligned with the Islamic State are now in a position where the best that they can manage, so to speak, would be an attack during the holidays. So we're at a heightened threat right now, Neil, but we also have the best intel and best law enforcement agencies in the world. So I think we're all going to be just fine this holiday season, but everyone's got to stay vigilant and keep their head on a swivel.
You know, it's one thing when you're during the summertime or warmer weather and you have to keep an eye out for the guy who's in a coat or looking a little unusual. Here in pretty cool winter weather across much of the Northeast, Midwest, what have you, what do you do short of that?
Well, there are additional security challenges because you're talking about a time period where, one, yeah, people are wearing bulkier clothing. And we did just see an attempted suicide bombing here in New York City with that pipe bomb near the Port Authority. Right. So that makes it more difficult to identify, but also just the large congregations of people at predictable places. You know, people often talk about in the security business times and routes. You have to make sure that you vary them. You have to make sure that you're not overly predictable because it's essential for the bad guys to know where you'll be and who will be there. When you're talking about Times Square, you're talking about some of these other very large gatherings that will occur in the next week or so, it makes it difficult. That said, you know, the NYPD is the largest police department in the country. They know that it's a threat. They see the postings from the Islamic State. And there's also a balance to be struck between making sure everyone's aware of the Islamic State propaganda that's out there and then allowing that propaganda to take on a life of its own and create overreactions and anxiety beyond what is necessary in the general public, because that is in and of itself a goal of the jihadis. So there's a lot of pieces intersecting here, Neil.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Buck. Appreciate all the words of advice. Buck Sexton, former NYPD Intelligence Division.
Merry Christmas, Neil.
Especially to you as well, my friend.